Welcome back to Light Talk, where the paranormal and the supernatural is a part of our everyday lives. I want to welcome you to our guest today. I am so excited to have her on the show. It's going to be a blast. So let's get started. Go ahead and introduce yourself and welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me on, Dana. I'm Leslie Juvin-Acker, JD. I am a Franco-American. I live in the southwest of France in a small, gorgeous little town called Castelnaudary, where I'm currently recording in my boutique called Le Jardin d'Amour, where it is a metaphysical boutique and esoteric bookstore. We do events and energy healing, tarot reading, and all the wonderful things to help souls grow. That's our mission. And Dana asked me to be on to share about my near-death experience. And even in the pre-show, we talked about me being a psychic medium and how I was seeing the alien presences behind her before she even told me. So I think we are in the right place, right time for the right discussion. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to have you on the show. So why don't you tell us about your near death and then we'll go from there.
Okay, well, you just stop me wherever you have a question, okay? Because
You got it.
it is a wild one. So, I don't have any kind of sad story going right before it, right? I wasn't doing drugs or anything. I'm prospering in my life. I'm happy. I had moved from San Diego from the United States to France. I bought a house, semi-retired, doing well in my life. And one night went to bed. Actually, one night I took a shower and I saw a blue indigo light kind of spinning around when I closed my eyes to wash my hair. And I thought, that's interesting. Didn't think too much of it. Just continued with my night. I went to sleep. And about 6 o'clock in the morning, I got up and I felt like this gas. So I thought maybe I have to go to the bathroom. Walked to across the hall where there is a water closet. And all of a sudden, I just felt even more gas. And I thought, gosh, what is going on? I thought, I don't know. Do I have to fart? So what's going on? But I couldn't happen. It just wasn't working. And then all of a sudden I felt like, oh, it's getting really hot in here. So I tried to like open the window next to the toilet and I had already pulled up my pants. So I had tried to open it. And all of a sudden it was like, I just powered down. I lost all power. And the next thing I know, I just shot out that tunnel and I found myself, my consciousness, I was without my body. My consciousness was in this black, what I can only call cosmic womb instantly. And I was cradled. It felt like I was cradled by these hands or this love, this presence. And it was all black, but I could see. It was so weird. It was black, but I could see. And I could feel I was not alone there. I felt like there was this all expansiveness and intelligence, this oneness that knew me and was its own self, was a part of me. And then there was all these other intelligence, but you couldn't see them. And it felt like the only thing I could say was like, it felt like being in space and being a star. Like, it's just that's the only thing I could feel like the closest thing I could say is just you're hanging in there and you're a star and you're all of it, but you know yourself. But I didn't have a body. And then all of a sudden, I was yanked from a cord that went from me, from my body and myself, and it yanked me back through that tunnel, blue light in the middle of my forehead, the third eye. And I fell back, boom, slammed back into my body. And my husband he had found me. I guess he heard me say as right before I collapsed, help, help. I only remember saying it once. He said I said it twice, but I only said it once in my mind. And then I heard as well simultaneously, the reason why I say it like this is like time doesn't exist on that side. And time is like my concept of time from this whole experience is all like, I'm conscious of everything that's unfolding, but it's also unfolding like this in a sequential order. So my time concept is like bouncy. But I heard cardiac arrest. So I heard that. So it must have been my heart stopped and then I got pulled back. And so as I got pulled back, the awareness that came with that sensation of being pulled back was that I was being pulled back because my husband and my 2 children didn't want me to die. They were yanking me back. And I was like, okay, but I didn't want my son to see me. When I kind of regained consciousness, I was really lying. I don't know. I came back with that feeling of being just wrapped in this warm blanket, like a cozy, warm blanket. Absolutely loved and adored, and just as if the only thing I could say when I that feeling, maybe that's why people do drugs, I don't know, but that feeling was like you're a baby and you're in the arms of your parent who loves you, and they're looking down at you and you are perfect. You feel that they believe and see you as perfect, right? So I'm feeling perfect. I'm feeling fine. But I want to go back to that black space. I want to go there. I want to go back so bad. I kept saying like, oh, I want to go back to sleep. I want to go back to sleep. And but simultaneously, myself, mother self says, I don't want my son to see me. So I kind of create this mental block in my mind. So my son, whose bedroom is next to the water closet, he doesn't come out. And he didn't come out, but my daughter had seen me and she was kind of scared. So she kind of watched me from like kind of a crack in her door. She was terrified. And my husband was calling emergency services. And later on, my son said, I thought it was our construction workers because we've been working on our house who were coming early. And so I just didn't want to get involved. So I stayed in my room. So then I must have created some kind of diversion for him mentally. So he didn't come out to see me because I knew it would traumatize him. He's very sensitive. And so the emergency came. I live right minutes from the fire department. They had come up the stairs. I have a 4-story home with a spiral staircase. They come up the stairs and they'd come and looked over me. And I'm in my body and I'm like just feeling so good. And they're looking at me and they're having me move and they're having me speak. And I'm conscious, I'm coherent, I'm communicating, but I'm also like simultaneously in this gorgeous space. But I'm also getting aware of other things that are happening that I've taken back from it and are happening because I'm not fully in my body. I'm not 100% in. And so I'm laying in my body. I'm like laying there on the ground. And I think my eyes are open, but I'm able to see everybody and everything. So this is kind of weird because the emergencies come and they check my eyes and the guy's like saying in French. I couldn't understand the technical term of what he was saying in French, but he was like, seems like she's conscious, but she's not there. Like my eyes, like there's nobody home. So I'm talking, but they think that there's nobody home. And they're like, we need to take her to the emergency room for everything, right? They put me in this like chair and they carry me down the stairs, right? Then this is where it all starts to get really mega weird. They put me in the emergency ambulance. And again, it's all simultaneous. So my time concept is very strange. But in that moment where I had come back and I'm processing that experience and I'm taking back all this awareness with me, I had a review of my life in a split second. I can't even say like I saw it like a movie in every scene. It was like, okay, I've seen it all. It was like I can't even say, but it gave me context for how fast and how immediate life is. It's just immediate. Like it's like this, not even faster than this. I'm faster than a snap of your finger. And so I judge myself. I see everything instantaneously and I'm judging myself. How did I do? Every mistake, every gaffe, every argument I've ever got in, when my parents threw me out the house, all this other stuff, right? Just every terrible time. And it came to one reason why it was so hard for me sometimes. And it was because I loved too hard. And so I could hear myself after this review say, and becoming conscious of why I had kind of suffered in my relations with people is that I love too hard. And I said, well, I can live with that. Okay. I could live with that. So it was like a sense of a self-analysis. Like I got this instant self-analysis that it was hard because I love too hard, and that's not so bad. We make mistakes, but if we do it in a loving way, it's okay. Like there was no judgment for myself in a negative sense, but I was very much aware of what had caused a lot of snafus in my life with people. I loved way too hard. I didn't know what to do as a human. And so there was that, and then there was also simultaneously this judgment between who the people who really loved me in my life and the people who did not love me in my life, and the people who would be sad if I died and people who would not be sad if I died. Very like a Solomon's baby, right? And there's a lot of people in my own family and a lot of people I thought cared about me that could care less, that would not even care if I died. And then there was all these people random that I'd met or that I'd coached or I'd helped or friends or whatever, and they would just be terribly distraught that I died. Like I could feel where the love was coming from. Like it was very visceral and palpable, like the two sides, right? Like in a weird way, when they say in Revelation, like, get away from me, I never knew thee, and like come and sit beside me on the throne. It was like that experience, right? But there was the self-judgment and then the judgment of those people who pretended to be my friends and those who were always my friends, but just perhaps weren't there, came in and out of the picture, strangers. So I had that assessment, right? And it was kind of cool because even though I was aware that those people didn't love me, I asked the question, why? Why do they love me? And I heard a voice, couldn't see the voice. I heard the voice say, because they don't have love to give. Oh, okay. So I could forgive them. I could forgive them. Well, you don't have love to give. You couldn't love because you don't have love to give. Okay, well, it just made sense. It just absolutely made sense. Okay, that's fine. And so I could forgive them for everything, and I could forgive myself for everything that I had done and my mistakes. And so that happened very quickly. And then I'm laying in the emergency ambulance, and all of a sudden I see my true self. I this giant body of light, 15 feet tall, dancing like one of those car lot dancing air guys, just woo. It reminds me all the times when I went to raves in college, it's just dancing. And I'm looking at myself. I don't know how this was. I'm in my body. I'm aware. I'm in this point of awareness. And I see my true self. I don't know how that happens, but I can see my true self. And I'm laying there and I'm going, gosh, just never serious. Just never takes anything seriously. But it's true. If I become aware of it, I don't like taking things seriously. I will get focused. I'll do the things I need to do. I went to law school, I've coached, I'm an investor and all these things. I will put my head to the table and I'll get it done. And I'm serious about taking care of people who are in my charge and doing my job correctly. But it's true that I don't like to be very serious. I think that if we're too serious, we forget to have fun, and then we start getting violent, and then we forget to love. So I don't like getting serious. So I'm seeing myself, and I have this strong desire to fall asleep. I want to go back. I want to go back. Just take me back, baby. And I heard this voice say, again, the person, the entity, the intelligence who said they don't have love to give, said, if you fall asleep, you will die and you will not come back. And if you stay awake, you will live. So I got to make that choice. And I saw the rationale for that. The rationale was to stay alive was there's my family, there's my husband and my 2 children, and then there's me. And all 3 of them are way too serious. I mean, they're just like, French, and they're just serious people, and I'm the most playful, silly, vibrant color one of the bunch. I laugh and I joke and I want to explore and I want to go on vacation and I want to blow the money and I want to do all this stuff and have fun and be silly and dance. And so I saw the rationale for this was if I leave, then I was shown they would live a fine life. They would be fine. I kept hearing that phrase. They'll be fine. Okay, they'll be fine. But their whole world was almost like black and white, where I come in technicolor and neon lights, So it really was like oh, I'm a part of this unit and I have a very distinct role in their life. And I understood at that moment my role in my family's life and my role in people's life. Because if you look at my boutique, it's Christmas time now. I've got a pink Christmas tree. We got pink lights and pink decorations everywhere. And it's just fun, you know? So I had this awareness of myself, seeing myself in the role that I play as myself, like my true self. And then as I was in the ambulance, again, this is all instantly happening, right? I saw, it was so weird. It was like I saw, like I was looking through an aquarium wall or a veil. I would say the most like the accurate word is like a veil, but it was like an aquarium wall where there's a division, there's this real separation, a palpable one between where I am and the other side. And there was my husband's great uncle, who is named Robert, but I called him Bobby just to be silly because I remember meeting him the first time, and he was like 98 or something when we met. And he and I was in my early 20s, and him being 98, we had this like connection, like this instant love connection. And I don't mean romantic, just love, pure love. Like, and so I joke with him and call him Bobby, and we were laughing and have a good time. But Bobby was on this other side, in this other world, in a French farm kind of looking thing with this brick stone wall that was handmade. And he was standing there, and he looked to be in his 40s, mid 40s, and he was gorgeous. He was absolutely gorgeous. And he was wearing this nice kind of shirt, jacket, and these pants, like maybe khaki, like kind of wool pants, old timey, vintagey kind of pants. And he's just looking at me in this gorgeous kind of like, I don't know, like, you know, old time Hollywood guys kind of way. You know, he's looking at me, but just like appreciating me and loving me from this other side, and can see me. And I'm just looking at him. I'm not even talking to him. I'm just looking at him going, he's here for me. He's here for me. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, and oh, why Bobby? Why not Frank's grandparents, who I love so much, my husband's grandparents? Why not my own grandmother? Why not so-and-so that took care of me, blah, blah, blah. But it was him. It was him who came. I just thought, wow. So this was not something I could concoct. This was an experience that really was organic. And so he's just looking at me from the other side, knowing it's not my time. Like he knew it wasn't my time. Like he was kind of conveying that it was not my time. But I wanted to go. Oh, girl, I want to go. And so the young man's like, Madame, if he's like, I need you to keep your eyes open. And I was like, but I'm so tired. Je veux dormir. I want to sleep. I want to sleep. Je suis fatiguée. I'm tired. He's like, no, keep your eyes open. And it's this young paramedic, and he knew what was up. It was as if like my guide was telling that guy to say it out loud. And so the ambulance starts to take off, and it's like a few minute ride to the hospital. I live in a small town. So it starts to take off, and there's these giant sycamore trees lining each side of the road. And as this ambulance takes off, my spirit lifts up like a kite and is starting to fly. And I see the silver cord between myself and my spirit. So I'm watching my body and this thing. And it's like my freaking body is this rock glob of clay. And what I really am is this kite, is this light flying, and just go, and I can feel simultaneously, I can feel myself being in this ambulance, right? Laying in the bed in my pajamas. But I could feel as well, as I'm in this kite, I'm touching the leaves. I can feel the leaves. And I'm like, woo, woohoo, yeah, I can feel the breeze. I can, it's a nice, fresh day. Oh, I'm flying. Oh, it's so good. And so they take me, and I'm like, yay, yay, yay. And then they finally take me to the emergency room, and I come in, and without makeup, I look probably 15. So I come in, they take me in, and the nurse is like, oh, look, we got this little kid in here. She looks at my chart, says, like, I'm 40. And she's like, oh, hello, madame. I just thought it was so funny. And then all of a sudden, I can see my spirit I can hear my spirit thinking, and I'm seeing my spirit going, I got to get in this little building. Oh God. And I'm like crunching myself to get inside the building and then coming out where it's bigger again. And then my spirit follows me into the room, and they do what's in English, EKG, where they test your heart rate, they test everything.
Okay.
They put me in and gave me brain scans to see if I had a stroke. They did all sorts of tests on me, which was amazing. Thank God in France didn't walk out of there with a bill. That's the scariest part of the NDE. Just kidding. And so I didn't walk out of there with a bill. I had all this test done, and I'm laying there, and I'm just all of a sudden I can feel my husband. I can feel his heart, and he is frightened. He's terrified. I could feel him scared because they said, "Okay, it's going to take a while to get her in, so just come later. We'll get her checked out." But this whole time, even when I was on the other side and I had fallen back and I'm going through all this, I knew I was going to be all right. I knew it. I knew I was 100% healthy. And even the voice, the guide, said to me, "You're going to find out what happened, but you're totally fine." Okay. And so I'm laying there, and then waiting and doing the test, talking to the doctor, all the things. And I'm having this awareness like, okay, do I want to go to sleep or do I want to go? I'm debating with myself. Like, I'm really debating with myself what I want to do. But I love my kids and I love my husband and I love my life and I got a good life. But then at the same time, God, that was really good where I was. So I'm having this conversation back and forth. Um, and then my guide says, okay, if you really want to live, you have to tell your soul to come all the way back in your body and you will be fine. Okay. And my spirit is very silly and very naughty. And I said, okay, it's time. It's time to come inside. So I told my body it's time to come in. I told my spirit it's time to come in my body. And I could see my spirit, this, again, body of light, come in and just come inside of me and lay down. And then, boom, I'm not gray and tired anymore. I'm just, as I'm talking to you, I get up and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go home. Just like that. And that's when my husband was able to come in. And he comes in, he's like, "What's up, I love you, all the things, the romance movie." And so then the head doctor comes in, he's like, "Madame, we did your test. There's nothing wrong with you. You're healthy. We just don't know what happened." But I knew the voice said cardiac arrest. My heart stopped. And then later on, I realized months later, I found out that it was kind of like a vagal nerve thing. And then my friend, who's a chiropractic doctor, said, if you move too fast with your vagal nerve, your heart will stop. And then that gave me the explanation of what had happened. And so she said, you just got to be slow. But I think it's just because me, just knowing myself, I think my spirit was like, just left my body. It was just like, boom, immediately left my body. So when I like watching near-death experiences because it's such a validation for what I experienced myself, but it's also a validation for everything that the mystic Neville Goddard said in all his books and all his lectures, which was like, you're going to come out of Golgotha, you're going to come out of the tomb of the skull, and you're going to come out, you're going to see yourself as God, you're going to know yourself as God, all the things. So for me, I feel like that was like a self-fulfillment. I finally met myself. I knew myself to be as an individual, not a person, as an individual. And then I knew myself to be one with God. And I knew that everybody else, just like you and me, we're all stars who've kind of fallen onto earth to do stuff. We're all just kind of like shooting stars. And so after that whole experience, I had a lot more experiences and realizations of like our nature and who we are. And the information came even more. And as I already was a psychic medium before all this had happened, now even more, I see the spirits walking around. I call them people of the light. I see them walking around, just living life and doing things. Not everybody, not all the time. But I see them as if they're coming here like it's a theme park or they've got things to do. So my intuitive experiences have increased tenfold. My healing abilities to help pull things from people's bodies and to heal energetically has improved. And then as a result, to fulfill what I had kind of experienced, to love people, to be really fully loving, and to live as God, because it's Neville Goddard said, and he quotes other mystics, said that God became man so man could become God. And we're living this like human experience. And I realized oh no, like we're God coming in to have a human experience, and to be human is extremely painful. To be in a human body is very limiting. It is uncomfortable to be a human being because we have stripped ourselves of all our powers and all our abilities. And we are, imagine being in pre-K and you barely can control your hands. And when you get mad, you want to pinch somebody. You just can't control yourself. That's how I feel. I feel like we're just little preschoolers in these bodies and in human minds. And it's a very constrictive space. And I could see now, like when I was in that near death, it was like, oh, fantastic. Oh, there was another thing that was really interesting that happened during the near death was what would happen to my body. And I had been touring like many kind of like cemeteries here and doing videos on my YouTube series called Leslie and Castellanaudary. It's kind of something I do for fun here and there. And I had thought about, well, what do I want to do with my body when I die? Do I want to bury it? Do I want to have it in a tomb? Do I want to have it cremated? I thought about these things. My husband and I were talking about it. And then on the other side, and as I had come back, I asked, like, what would happen to my body if I chose to die? And I saw that all of us human beings who have ever lived on this planet all come from one tree. I have a bonsai behind us. We all come from one tree, and we are all little leaves on this one tree, the human family tree. And when you're finished with your spirit, with your body, your body's finished with your spirit's finished with your body, you just drop it, and it's like a leaf on the ground, and there's no attachment to it anymore, to this body, to this life. There's no attachment to it. And I had seen this giant tree that represented the tree of life, tree of humanity, that we all spring forth from as human beings. And it solidified, I already knew it before, but it solidified in concrete terms that we as a human family are all one. And any attempts for white supremacy or division or ableism or gender inequality, that's a lie, because we all come from that one singular tree. And so I had seen that from that side, and it didn't heal any kind of like thing from me regarding it, but it affirmed the validity of this truth. It gave me like a very simple metaphor to explain that it was this like, oh yeah, we all come from the tree of life. That's what it means. We all come from it. When we die, we shed it, and it goes to the ground, and we can't be bothered with it anymore. We're off doing other things. So this ephemerality of life being this instantaneous experience, but when we're humans, in my near-death experience, oh my God, it could be so long. It can be such a drain and a drudge, and it can be terrible. But from that side, I realized like, oh no, like it's just a second, absolutely just a second. So it kind of gave me this sense of like everything that we all kind of talk about in the spiritual realm, but it was really affirming for me. And I saw myself. And so my logo for Le Jardin d'Amour is this kind of body of light walking through this garden, this garden of life. And then the other thing I had learned, I think this is really important, I want to share, is that after the near death and the months after, as I had increased my healing abilities and my communication and listening abilities with spirit and helping people in doing tarot readings and spiritual stuff, is like all of us we have inside of us this black thing. I call it the forbidden fruit. And it's like this source of suffering and our feelings of like evil in the world. Like when we watch something really bad happen, like World Trade Center, or people getting hurt or accident or whatever, we get this instant pain and suffering, or we get anger or violence or whatever. And it's this ball. And I had seen it. I had found it in me, and I found it in my husband. And so I did some stuff to teach him how to remove it, because you can, and because you don't need it anymore. You don't need the knowledge of evil anymore. And I just asked the question, where did that come from? This source of evil within all of us? Because Edgar Cayce, the great psychic, said there's so much good in the worst there's so much good in the worst of us, and there's so much bad in the best of us. There's no point in judging each other. And I always wondered, what did he mean by that? Because I know Edgar Casey, he was literal. So I heard a voice on this side. Normally it's always on this side that I hear a voice on this side, which I think was an angel, because I'd seen one at Lourdes after the near death. So I could start to see angels. That was the other thing. I could start to see angels. So the other thing I heard a voice say, well, don't you remember? You ate it so you could become a human. And then I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. The story of Genesis, because we lived in the garden, and the only way to become a human was to eat it.
Forbidden fruit.
And that's how the forbidden fruit. So technically it wasn't really forbidden because we chose it and we ate it. So it was not like somebody out there was like, oh, look at you. Said that. No, it wasn't that. But it was this ball like this. And it was like, don't you remember? You ate it so you could become human, so you could know the difference between right and wrong, and good and evil, and bad and good, and hate and love. And so you could know. So you could feel it. So you could experience it. So you could have that. Oh, well, I don't need that anymore then, because I already know the difference. I've learned the difference. I understand the difference now. I see it. I recognize it. I've experienced it. And so I figured out a way to, I'd say I figured it out. It wasn't me that figured it out. I was shown, I think, from this angel how to do it. But I've asked some people, do they want to remove it? And they get scared and they say no. So because of free will, you got to live with it until you're ready to release it. And I think some people in their lifetime, from what I've seen since then, which is really important, I think it's kind of like that Native American story of the two wolves. You're feeding the good wolf or you're feeding the bad wolf. And I think some people manage to starve that forbidden fruit until it no longer is there in them and they become pure, pure. I'm saying we're all pure, but you know what I mean? No desire for evil, I would say. They're satiated from that. And then another experience from that near death had happened is that I was led to go eat at a restaurant. Spirit had led me. It's weird to say this, but Spirit led me to a restaurant, a buffet. And then that night I got the worst food poisoning of my life, like both ends. I'm like, the worst food poisoning. And then after 24 hours, I could no longer eat meat. I had no desire anymore to eat meat whatsoever. I mean, yeah, okay, an egg. But it was like no meat, no sausage, no nothing like that. It was just like that. I had no desire anymore to eat animal flesh. And there's no judgment on anybody who does. It's not a value statement, but it was another thing that kind of like, I think the most accurate term I would like to say the experience gave me was like, as if I had a cloud of experience or desire or like habits, and like somebody just went in through that experience and deleted it. And there was no more file for desire to eat meat. That's what it felt like. So I'm communicating more like that rather than whether or not eating meat is good or bad. It's not a value statement on that. It was like as if something came, not something extra, an event with my own mechanism of my own mind. I went in my mind, into my individuality. I deleted that file and it's like, okay, I don't need to eat meat anymore. So these are like the weird things that had happened after that experience, in the 6 months after that experience. It was like I didn't eat meat anymore. I could see angels. I went to Lourdes and I saw Mother Mary next to a woman in a wheelchair at the grotto. I saw an angel standing next to another woman in a wheelchair, and the angel just looks at me almost like a kind of funny, like comedian moment. And he looks at me and he has the hand on his hip and he goes, I'm trying to talk to her, but she just won't listen to me. So I'm having these experiences, and then extraterrestrials. Like when we were talking, I was like, she got something there. So the veil of like illusion of the human experience is like, I don't think I live as a human anymore. I think that we come in and we're having the human experience is terrible. It is terrible to have a human experience. I don't care what you say. And I have friends that are like multimillionaires, billionaires, and they got the best of everything. But even still, knowing their stories and their personal lives is hard. It's hard being human. And so I think at that point, I realized what the near death did for me was to show me like, oh, like God became man, so man could become God, and we could have a God experience on earth. Moving around.
I love
like,
your dance.
we just, hey, hi. And so that was kind of like the long story short. I'm sure there's probably things I hadn't added, but I'm just trying to convey to you the most important of them. I do have another video I put on my channel of my experiences. I had remembered it so I could recall it. But these are the most important ones I feel to share with you today because wow, like life is just, we think an experience makes our whole life, and then there's some experiences that reveal so much to us. And I think if there's anything that from life we must learn is to seek the truth and to be open to it as it comes along, and truth in all its forms, whether it's angels or it's Mother Mary or if it's Jesus or if it's aliens or if it's like the fruit of good and evil, whatever. Like there's something there to teach us about our nature and to know ourselves. And I think like it was a great experience to have that near death. So yeah, that's kind of like how it is. That was my experience.
That is what you brought up a good point for me, a lesson for me because of how to look at other people that they not sure how to love. They don't know, they don't have the love in them. And I feel that it was a good lesson for me on a personal level. So to help me try to um, unconditionally love others. That's where I've been struggling lately is to unconditionally love. And it's tough. It's tough as a
Yeah,
human.
it's tough.
So yeah. So
It
yeah,
is.
I'm working on that. That's one of my lessons I'm trying to really work on. And it's been tough.
I think for me, having experienced that, and the thing with like being like erasing in the cloud, like the desire for me, it's the same thing that experience had kind of like erased this cloud of like erase this file in the cloud of my mind of like judgment of others, and it's kind of like, oh, they're still human, they're still pretending to be human. They're still like, I wouldn't even call them asleep. I don't even think like it's like that. Some people say, oh, they're still asleep, they need to be awakened. It's just like, no, they're in the human experience. This all is a simulation. And I don't mean it's a simulation not to take your vaccines and eat your vitamins and eat right and exercise. That's not what I mean. Like that doesn't matter. It does in this simulation. There are rules and laws in this simulation. So you got to have to play by those rules. But I feel like for me to, seeing people in my own family who I thought would surely love me.
Right.
Nah, didn't. And it was so factual though. I think it's like this objective, factual, like they don't have it together. And then there's no emotional struggle of whether or not, why don't they love me in this? Well, you can't give what you don't have. So it was like more of like a total forgiveness and understanding of like, oh, okay, well, it wasn't personal. It was never about me, ever. It wasn't about me at all.
Amazing. I love that analogy of it. I think it's just fabulous. What a way to say it. You have beautiful words in explaining things. It's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
No,
Thank you.
it's great. So I love the tree of life. That gave me another meaningful explanation of the tree of life, that we're all the same. And I kind of look at us as a sneeze of God. So so here you have God and a sneeze, God sneezes, and we're all the germs that are running around, but we're all part of God. So we're the particles of God's sneezes. That's how I kind of look at it in a sense. So it's like,
This
so
very
we're all
hitchhiker's guide.
there. You go, there you go. Get the fish there. Um, yeah, is it's really interesting how different people have their different viewpoints of how we maneuver and how we're all part of God, but we're all part of God
Oh yeah.
always.
I think
Yeah.
if I could add something, and one of the other realizations that I had was that, I had asked because I don't know if I could show you here, but in my logo, you'll see kind of like this person of light. who's walking in the garden, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Uh-huh. With the
And so
moon and
yeah, the moon and everything and the stars, because we're in this like cosmic galaxy. So I said to Spirit, okay, Spirit, if we're all light, then how come we all look all different? And what I heard and what I was shown was that if you look in a kaleidoscope and you twist it and go coo 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 coo, in the thing, you got the one light that comes through. It's very Newtonian, right? And that we fractalize the light. And so this is a fractal. We're all fractals. There was a physicist who said that we're light, the way light reacts. She was so eloquent. I'll send you the link. But she said, okay, we go, light will be here, and then it will disappear, and it will go somewhere else, and then it will reappear. And it disappeared. And I commented in a video, and I said, ma'am, that is exactly what happened in my near death. I was here, I went boop, and then it came back, boop. And that again was like an affirmation that we are all light, and that as individuals we all look so different colors and different health and all these things, is because we're twisting the kaleidoscope and we're just fractalizing ourselves, and we can change it as we want. But the only person who's doing it is us. We're the one fractalizing it by our own choice and our own desires and our own thoughts and our feelings, much like a cuttlefish, changes its colors and its shape and all the things to do what it wants to do. But like I said, in terms of anything for division, yeah, we're all unique because we're fractalizing ourselves through the kaleidoscope, and we're all unique in the sense that we're all leaves that come off. But at the end of the day, we're all the same thing.
yeah. I love that. I love that. Thank you. That was, like I say, beautifully said. It's very in, the word's great for understanding. It's beautiful. I'll just say it's beautiful. Great wording,
Well, thank
great
you.
explanation.
Thank you.
It's beautiful, beautiful. I know you have a lot of more stories. Do you want to talk about those, or would you like to do another show with me?
And anything you would like to do, I could share one more story if you'd like. I don't know how much time you have, but I'll share one more story from the other day. It's a pretty short story, but it's profound. I was sitting here across the way. There's a restaurant that's pretty famous here in town. It's called Maison du Cassoulet, and it's cassoulet is like a bean stew. It's very famous. The only cassoulet in the world comes from Castelnaudary. Okay, so I'm over there eating lunch with my husband, and my husband and I are having a great time. We have our usual seats. We know the staff. We're eating, and it's the lunch rush. It's noon, and all of a sudden, this group of like 20, 30 people start coming in. And I turn to my right and I look over there, and there is a friend of mine who had passed away a couple years ago from suicide. And he was my husband's best friend. And so I had seen him, and he was as real as you and I right now. I can only say that. And he just looked at me, he had this gorgeous smile. And he just, South Florida guy, he goes, like that. And in an instant, he was gone, but he had communicated to me three important things. The first one was a kind of a two sides of a coin message. The one side of the coin was, we worry for nothing. Like, girl, you're stressing, you're worrying for absolutely nothing. Humanity, people, we worry for nothing. For nothing, there's nothing here to worry about. And then the other side of the coin of that same phrase was, as we are children of God, we worry for nothing. All is provided for. All is provided for. Like, it's almost like he's kind of like trying to like ring me to kind of hammer home this concept so I could communicate, like, all is provided for. Don't you know? Don't you know? Kind of. And then the second thing was a message for his daughter that he wanted me to communicate. And he said, you're going to have a good life. And he provided for her financially before he passed away. He obviously was very strategic. He sold everything, put it in an account for her, and made sure that she had the money and all the stuff. So she was provided for. But it's terrible when you're 16, you're whatever age you are, you're a teenager, and your dad commits suicide in a very, symbolic way, right? And so I'm like his medium, like I have to communicate like the movie Ghost.
Right.
So I'm going over there having to send the message. So I had the message sent right afterwards. And then the last part was it was not something he said, it was the look on his face that he had seen the face of God, like our mother, father, our origin of our being, our source, our creator. He was like that look that and I'm just thinking, you SOB, how, oh my God, you get to see it. You get to see it, like, it's just kind of like in a funny way, like a brother energy that he was. And I just started weeping. I started weeping for 20 minutes, when everybody's walking by, my husband's there, and he's like, oh my God, he didn't want anyone to think that he made me cry. And I'm just sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. And of course, again, I don't take things seriously. People were walking by and I go, what do you mean you're leaving me and taking the dog? And my husband's like, Leslie, come on. But
It's been strong.
I had to make use. I had to make use of that moment because it's so funny. It was so funny comedically, but it was so profound, which I think humor and comedy convey. And he had seen it. How could I even express that he'd seen? He's like, and it was like this message, like we're all going to see that face because we all are looking around, going, God, God, are you there? It's me, Margaret. It's like, hello. Like, where are you? What are you? We want to see you. We want to be with you. And I felt held by that and loved by that and protected by it and provided for. I don't worry about money. I know that all of this, even this boutique that I have here, that the people come and they do their buy-in, but I know that at the end of the day, I know that it's spirit that's providing. But it's true though, as humans, we worry for nothing. But as children of God, we should not worry for anything. And we must not worry for anything. It's like shaking us. Couldn't you realize, don't you realize you worry for nothing? But it's hard even for me to even get to that point to convey. And once I'm just working on it, it's like I'm a dog on a bone and I'm chewing on it, trying to get to that real true profundity, the simplification of this concept so I can convey it to everyone, because so many people worry about resource scarcity, that we're so afraid in life and in this world. And I've written a book about money psychology, so this is kind of my wheelhouse, but it's like we're so afraid to not be able to do the things we want to do because the capitalist system I call it the world of man, and Neville Goddard calls it that, the world of death and decay, he calls it, is so engineered to keep us from getting the resources that we need in order to do what we really want to do. It's gate kept, everything at all, money, time, our time is gate kept from us, like resources, all the things, food, water, even air in some degree, it's all gate kept from us. And so we feel like we're not able to do the things we do because it's just a struggle to get those resources in the first place. So we're distracted all the time just trying to get resources. And so when my husband's friend communicated, like, we worry for nothing, like, how do you get to that point psychologically? If I could bottle that and give that to everybody on this planet, I would spend my whole life trying to do that. I really would, because then it would really upend everything, all this world war and all this starvation and all this politics. If I could just do that, like, God, wouldn't that be great? So that's my final story I could say. I know I've been talking your ear off, but these are the types of profound things that I have experienced even before then, but even after, I feel like it's just been like accelerated after that point.
Yeah, I'm working on that in a sense too, because when I'm doing my meditation and everything in the mornings and night, the last thing I do is I bring in light from God. I bring that in and I put it all the way through me. And along with that, I'm bringing in unconditional love. So it's mixed in with the energy, high energy. And then I'm bringing in also healing. So I'm bringing in all of that. And then I send it down into Gaia and wrap it around the core of Gaia. And then I send it outward on both of us. So I'm getting from soul out. Gaia is getting it from the core out. And then let it sit with Gaia and all of Earth. And then I send it out to the cosmos. So even the cosmos is getting all this high energy, unconditional love and healing. So
That's beautiful.
that's
I love it.
that's what I'm trying to do, mainly for myself, but to help others out too, to help Earth, because I understand I haven't been really outside of the US. I've been to Bahamas and all, but I haven't been like overseas. But my sister has, and she says it's so clean and it's so beautiful. But US is like you can't go a foot without having a bag full of trash, it seems like. It's just so trash. So it's like, let's send this love out to Gaia. Let's clean her up. It just makes me sad. But, so we try to go out and clean up. So I just like to send that love and high energy and, healing of everything, every soul, every living being, every being out there, like the tree of life, to the rocks, to the waters, to everything, just sending that love and healing to everything.
Ooh, I love it and I feel it. I think I have one more message for you. I feel, when you told me earlier that you do this as a way to stay connected to your mother and you wear the clothes that she wore. My deepest feeling and awareness is related, a message from her to you in that sense is that doing this podcast and honoring her memory and her love is a way to keep your heart open. Because a lot of us, when we go through hard times or loss or whatever, our heart chakra closes down and it hurts. And the bravest thing you could do, and it's true, the bravest thing you could do is be like a Care Bear and keep your heart wide open. But it's so sensitive. Our heart is so sensitive. We cry. We're just like, oh, it's just too hard to love. So it's this love is so sensitive. And so we confuse the sensitivity with pain. But we're just so sensitive. And what I feel that you're doing by doing this is keeping your heart open and allowing that love to just blast out of you, Care Bear care style. I love it. So thank you.
Well, I thank you, and I would love to have you back on the show if you would like to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your stories, and I know you have a lot more, so we can chat about those. Yeah, any last messages that you would like to send out to the viewers?
I would say if you can reach out to me here. I'm at the store. I'll give you my contact information. I have my WhatsApp. You can call, you can leave messages, you can share your stories with me. I'm on Instagram. I have my business one, Universe Jardin d'Amour. I have my personal one, Liss Juvin-Acker JD. Like connect, I'm not some person living across the veil. I'm a real person that can connect with you. And I have this boutique here and I have the door wide open so people can come in and share with me. I hear things all the time, like women coming in telling me how their grandchildren are being human trafficked. I mean, just wild, crazy stories. And in that situation with this woman, and I say this for example, is that there was a reason why she had to come and tell me. And I said, you're disconnected from your inner power. So today is the day you connect to that power so you could change that situation. So we are all here with our experiences and our stories to begin living as God, to begin living as gods. Didn't Jesus say, I told y'all are gods. So to really recognize that, yes, we have our humanity, our fragility, we have our sensitivity as human beings and our limits, but as God, we can accomplish all things. And that is the true message, noble God and all these things. And I love hearing from people. I thank you, Dana, for reaching out for me, to me and for me, to help me share this story. And I really do bless you. I really do bless you in this adventure that you're doing. I can't wait to have more conversations about the aliens. That's what I want to say.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. And again, just thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I really, really appreciate it. If anyone out there has a story you would like to share, email me at lighttalk423@gmail.com. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will talk with everyone next time. Bye.
Bye.